Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, May the 31st, and it is a beautiful day where I am. It is sunny and warm and lovely. So lovely that if I'd been smart, I would have gone out this morning and gotten myself a Slurpee day. It's kind of a Slurpee day, but it's too late now to go and reasonably expect to be able to get the Slurpee, so missed that boat. A little bit of a heads up, you may hear some background noise today. So someone is mowing their lawn. They have recently started up, so sorry about that, but this is attempt number 3. I've had every time I've recorded, something has happened. I've had to fly to the door to try to retrieve something. Anyway, that's okay. So this is attempt number 3, but now somebody's mowing their lawn, and if I wait any longer till they are finished, it's gonna run into a few other things that I have to get accomplished today. So we're doing it. I'm sorry. I don't know how loud the lawnmower is gonna get, and I don't know exactly who's mowing their lawn, so it could be in and out. I can certainly hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. We'll see how it goes. If you hear the lawnmower sorry, it's summer. Anyway. The other thing at this time of day, as I've discovered on several of these videos, this is generally when the kids next door come out to play. So I think generally we found that the background noise from the kids playing next door for you has not been too bad. But I will say, if you hear random kids, you know, yelling and screaming, it's usually because it's the kids next door playing. They usually play really well, so the yelling and screaming is the good version. It's not the, oh my goodness, somebody's hurt me or something bad's happening. So just clarification on that. For those of us who know about children, you know those kinds of yelling and screaming are two distinct kinds. Anyway, they're usually really fantastic, and I'm all for get your kids out and play outside. I think that's fantastic. So yay. All right, with all of that, let's start talking about a couple of things. One, I wanted to talk about something new that is happening in the world of cross-stitching. Not that this is new, the concept is new, but there has been a new exclusive chart that has been released for pre-ordering. So this is from Hands Across the Sea Sampler. This is Eliza Martha Linfoot. I'm going to call her Linfoot just for fun. Because I think there's several Elizas and several Marthas, and I think even a couple of Eliza Marthas from Hands Across the Sea, so I'm calling her Linfoot. So this has just recently been put out, available for pre-order. Pre-order. She is not ready to be shipped from anybody that's participating. So this is an exclusive chart that is available from a small group of stores, and the stores are The Attic in Arizona, Needle in a Haystack in California, Traditional Stitches up here in Canada, just outside of Calgary, and A Stitch in Time, which is in Australia. So those are the 4 shops that are effectively sponsoring this exclusive, but you can buy it from any of the 4. Right now, those 4 shops are offering you a 10% discount if you order the chart, the linen, and a thread combination. So you have to have all 3 parts, chart, linen, threads, to get your 10% discount. You can get the discount if your order is placed by July 31st. I will say for Traditional Stitches, when you order with Traditional Stitches, they ask for your payment information, i.e. how you will end up paying for your order, but they certainly do not process that payment until your order is ready to be shipped. And again, you can order it now, but this is a pre-order. This is not ready for shipment. They are, well, again, so my information is coming from Traditional Stitches. What they've said on their webpage is that they are hoping to start shipping these orders out at towards the end of August. The start date for the stitch along for this is October the 1st, and I am personally going to add in a tentative one. We've all seen stitch alongs move their dates depending on what the demand is and how much of the the linen and the threads are available. So I think the suppliers know about this and are preparing for it, but again, sometimes the demand is more than what anybody was expecting, so I can't speak to that certainly at this point in time. So again, on Traditional Stitches website for this particular chart, it does say that the date for the stitch along is October the 1st. There will be a Facebook group for this, but it's actually a continuation of the Jane Fittis stitch along group. So the woman who was leading the Jane Fittis stitch along has agreed to lead this stitch along as well. So that group is going to become the Jane Fittis / Eliza Martha Linfoot stitch along group. I don't know if they're changing their name, but it's the same group. I will put a link to that group down below. What else did I want to say? Pre-order, again, certainly for Traditional Stitches, they ship your order out based on the order date in order that they receive them. So the sooner you get your order in, you'll get they process the orders in the order in which they are received. That's all I can say about that. What else did I want to say about this? Facebook group, start date, shipping end of August. Okay. So on Traditional Stitches website, so I only know about the Traditional Stitches version because that's where I'm getting my information from. I haven't checked out what the other stores are doing. There are 4 linen options. You can get the linen in a 30 count, a 38 count, a 45 count, and for those crazy people, a 53/63 version of linen. That would never be me. That's me. The thread options are DMC, Soie d'Alger, and Soie 103s. The stitches used in this particular chart are cross stitch with a little bit of satin stitch in this basket down here. But there is a note that says in the chart there will be a cross stitch version of that basket if you don't want to do the satin stitch. Don't be afraid of the satin stitch. The satin stitch is easy. But apparently there are people who don't enjoy doing satin stitch. Hey, everybody's got their thing, totally fine. So there will be a cross stitch version of that. So this has just come out over the last couple of days. As I say, as far as I know, the shops are taking their pre-orders. Traditional Stitches for sure. I will put a direct link to the page on the Traditional Stitches website if you are interested in that. Again, 10% discount if you order the chart, linen, and threads. So that is the big new exclusive that has been put out in the last couple of days. All right. And with that, let's get on with my stitching. And atypically, sort of typically for me at the end of the month, my stitching is the topic for this week, which is, let's talk my Maynia wrap-up. So it is May the 30th. Technically, there is stitching time tomorrow. I had talked to someone yesterday where I said, I was like, it's going to be stitching today, and then I don't think I have time tomorrow to stitch, but I've now changed my mind. Welcome to my world. I think I might do some stitching tomorrow. So it's not a full May. You're probably going to see a couple of these projects next week as well, but I figured we would talk about my big May accomplishments and what I have learned through my Maynia goals for this particular year. But we're going to start off with the other project I worked on. The Never-Ending Nativity. So this is the Bethlehem Star. This is the top part of the center panel of the Marbeck Nativity. And yes, as someone also pointed out to me this week, remember last year when I said I was hoping to have the whole thing done in December of last year? Yeah, blew through that one. But we're now getting into crunch time because, you know, it's in 2 days it's going to be June. December is practically upon us. And Charlotte, I think you misheard my goals. My goals was just to get the cry-neck cross-stitching done, not with the whole pink. Let's not get excited. Like, that's anywho. But I did accomplish my goal. So I have finished all of the cry-neck cross-stitching And some of it, which turned out, the funny part is when I really read it, they weren't full crosses, they were half stitches. Yeah, so anyway, a lot of moaning and whining and complaining about nothing. It's just moaning and whining and complaining. If I would just sit down and do the dumb thing, it would be done. We'll talk about that next week when we're talking about June. Anyway, so her wing, all of the stitching in here, whether it's full crosses, half stitches, Krynic DMC, all of the stitching has been done in the wing. I have also finished putting in all of the Krynic cross stitches here. So there are gold ones and there are these fuchsia colored metallic ones in there as well. Those were all accomplished. And then I started on the back stitching. So as you can see, the pink angel now has eyes, a mouth. I've done the back stitching in her hair. I have done half of the back stitching in the wings. So I've got one more color of back stitching to do in there, and then all of the back stitching in here. So my goal for this week is to finish all of the back stitching on the pink angel and to finish all of the stitching in the wing over here on the other angel. Small goals, I know, small goals, but I think if I set the goals small, I get them accomplished. So we're going to do small goals, and if I set small goals every week, hopefully this will make progress. So again, part of the thing why I don't think this made a lot of progress in May is because it was May, and I had Maynia stitching, and I wanted to do the Maynia stitching, and there were multiple projects that I was wanting to touch in May, which of course, as we got to last week when I threw the rotation out the window and sweeweed my way through the week. If nothing else, anyway, there has been progress on the pink angel. So I'm happy with that. I've just got back stitching to do here. Don't get me wrong, the rest of the pink angel is down here, but this is largely DMC stitching with some back stitching and Krynic, but it's over top. So there's still a ways to go on both of these angels and the beading. So anyway, let's not kid ourselves. But again, this week I've actually made the progress that I wanted to make. So yeah. So that's the never-ending nativity. Okay. Then, of course, so here's the Maynia stitching. I didn't bring all of the Maynia stitching because that poor little vixen reindeer only got worked on that 1-2 day period. So he's not coming back out. But anyway, the big Maynia start for me was Mirabilia's April Blue Diamond. This is copyright 1999. And for me, the biggest accomplishment is this 21-year-old chart that I've had in my stash for, I'm sure, 21 years. Finally got started. So if nothing else, that's my biggest accomplishment, is it finally got started, and I did make progress on it, and I'm happy with my progress. So that's what she looks like. Yes, I still haven't found the original chart. It's still hiding out with Shakespeare's fairies. You know these fairies, they get into trouble. So I had made a comment last week that I would be thrilled if I got all of the dress part down here accomplished, and I haven't managed to get that accomplished. So I have finished all of the white over to here. There's a little bit more white down here, but what I wanted to wait to do was come in and fill in. There's 2 colors of blue in these sections, and I just wanted to fill those in before I did the rest of the white again, just to make sure that I had it in the right spot. So these parts over here again are completely finished. They're the dress colors. So the gaps that are left here are flowers or leaves. So whatever stitching gets done on this in the next 36 hours, we'll be working on blue, some of the blues that go down here. So yeah, some of the blue up here got finished, and again, mostly this white. I'm having that moment saying, where did I leave this off last week? I don't remember if I got how much. Anyway, whatever. Stuff got done over here. It's never as much as I want accomplished. It's my ever-ending saga. But it's progress, and given that this started as a blank piece of fabric, I think I've come a long way. So everything from her waist down to here is now finished. Okay, other than the flowers. So the dress part. So whatever I get accomplished in the next couple of days will be these blues. The next time this gets picked up, we'll be finishing this section, and then I'll start to work on the flowers. But that's probably not this year. Again, I think this is going away till sometime in 2022, according to the stitching plan that I have going. But she got started. I think the fabric is I'm thrilled with my fabric choice for her. This is a 32 count Aerial Lugana from Picture This Plus. Side note on Picture This Plus, I think they're slowing down even further. Remember that fabric that I got? My understanding is that the order that was placed, the following order, which would have been placed towards the end of September, maybe early October, still hasn't arrived, and it's more than a month since I got mine. And I don't think it's even been shipped. So Picture This Plus might be slowing down even more. Anyway. April's Blue Diamond. I'm very happy with how she's come along. I think that's great. Again, big pause because I think that's going to be the screen grab. But I also, since I was sweeweeing my way through the rotation, we'll talk about that in a minute. I didn't spin the wheel, so Faerie Winter Dream came out again because I said. And that's, if anybody's using a tiny decision wheel, when in doubt and you're afraid of what the decision wheel is going to tell you, don't spin it, just decide for yourself. When so here's what I'm happy with what I got accomplished on this week. Again, not a dramatic amount, but her entire arm over here is now complete. And I did a little bit up here in the neckline. So not a huge amount of progress, but I'm also going to say, so when I do the skin on the Mirabilias and the Nora Corbetts, I do them 1/1, and I'm really slow because I'm not very good at it, and I have to concentrate harder. This doesn't come, anyway. It's a personal decision. I choose to inflict the torture upon myself. I like how it looks at the end. Again, if you held this up close, you would be going, holy smokes, what is wrong with your stitching? It's not great up close. But again, most people are not going to be looking at it up close, not close enough where they're going to see all the problems that I see with it. So again, like when you look at it from here, I think it looks lovely. So from that aspect, I'm totally fine and happy with what's happening. I keep going, you need to do better with your 1/1, and that will come with time. But again, for this piece, I think it's coming along well, good enough that no one will really know but me and people who look at it closely who are stitchers. So happy with my progress. The arm is done. I'm expecting to do a little bit more on her. When I pulled off my DMC for the color to finish this off, there are 2 strands of that 6-strand batch that I pulled off. So my small goal in the next 36 hours is to put those remaining 2 strands into the skin. And so that's where she's going to end off in May. Again, according to the plan, she is not coming out again this year. But when she comes out again, my big focus will be to finish the skin up here and do the head, because after that it's just wings, which is full cross stitches. Yes, there's Kreinik number 4 braid in there, but I actually find stitching with number 4 braid better than the Kreinik in the Kreinik blending filament that I'm using for the Never Ending Nativity. So even then, even though it's Kreinik, I will do better with it because it's Kreinik number 4 braid. She is being done on a 28 count Midnight Tryst Jobelan from Fabrics by Stephanie. I love this fabric. Love this fabric. Love how she's coming along. Slowly but surely. Don't get me wrong, there's a bajillion beads left to go on this thing. Yeah, so we're a long ways away from finishing, but that's not the point. She got progress. She's got more skin in here than she had when we started the month, so I'm happy with how that worked out. So that's all the stitching I got accomplished this week. So let's talk a little bit about what did I learn in May. So a couple of things that I've learned in May from what I did for my Maynia plans. One, my 2021 stitching plan is holding up really, really well. I'm enjoying starting a new project every month. I acknowledge that some of the projects I'm starting, there's no hope of getting them finished in the month that they're started. That's not the point. But I'm really glad that I've started them. I've enjoyed stitching on them. I'm so glad that they're finally getting worked on. And again, since I've been working on my 5-year stitching plan, so 2021 through 2025, I have a stitching plan worked out for those 5 years. And so when I say that these are going away until 2022, they are going away until 2022 at this point in time. But there are places in my 2022 stitching plan to work on them, which again is also part of the plan. Let's talk about rotation, because one of my goals for this month was to try a different rotation to see if that rotation worked for me. And so my rotation for May was that I did the first 8 days on April's Blue Diamond, so it had a good healthy start. And then I was spinning my tiny decision wheel to pick one of my other Mirabilia whips, and I would work on it for 2 days, and then I would go spend 3 days on my focus piece, 2 days on spin the wheel, so 3-2-3-2. Which, as we all know, which I said at the beginning of this, and even as I said at the end of last week's video, I think I was throwing that rotation out the window because I just wanted to get a few things accomplished. So what does this tell me about rotations? So a couple of things. One, I'm terrible about sticking with the rotation, but we're still working on refining. There might be a rotation that works for me. One of the things that I learned is that 2 days doesn't feel like enough. So I think the answer is, for a rotation for me, it has to be 3 days, because then I feel like I really got something accomplished. And again, life happens in any given week. And so, like, if I work on something for 3 days, the focus piece, and those were 3 really good stitching days, and the next 2 days were like not good stitching days where I had much more limited time, or 12 other things got in the way, you know, then you don't feel like you got as much accomplished. So in my head I'm going, like, I think for me a rotation has to be a minimum of 3 days. Then of course I threw the rotation out the window and I sweeweed my way through this last week. So part of that, again, was an interesting thing for me, saying it was good for me because I had very specific goals set. So things like, 1, I wanted to make sure that over the course of last week I got all of the Krynic cross stitching done in the Pink Angel, and I got that done, and I did some of the back stitching, so that was positive. My goal for Faerie Winter Dream was that I wanted that entire other arm completed, which was accomplished. So that was good too. So I think if I had done sort of my typical rotation, it wouldn't have worked out as well. So I stitched on April's Blue Diamonds, so didn't get quite as much done on that as I would have liked, but I got stuff done on the Never Ending Nativity. I got my goal accomplished on Faerie Winter Dream, made progress on April's Blue Diamond. So I'm now kind of going, like, does your rotation then, to be effective for me, does it have to be very goal specific? So maybe it's not number of days, maybe it's like you have to set a specific goal by a project, and your rotation is whatever it takes to get that goal accomplished within the week. So June is coming along. So June, we're going to do something else. So June 1st, which is on Tuesday, new month, new start, really looking forward to it. One of my tasks for this last week was to get my fabric cut for that in Search, which I did not get accomplished. I was supposed to do that on the long weekend and I didn't get it done. So I now have 36 hours to get that done. It'll get done. Because Tuesday we will be starting it one way or another. And I'm really looking forward to that project. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, my plan is holding up well. I'm not feeling worried about the fact that I'm starting a bunch of things and not finishing them, because they're also factoring into my 2022 plans. Some of them have been finished, some of them have not been finished, more nots than finished, but that's not the point. Anyway, so we're still working on refining. The plan is holding up well, that's positive. Still working on rotation learnings, which I think is going to take until the end of the year at least, if not longer, because SWIWI always factors in. But I'm happy with the progress that I've made in May. So as far as I'm concerned, my Maynia has been very successful. So I'm happy with that. All right. Moving along, because this is not going to be movie length. So I just wanted to do highlight a free chart. So this is, I think it's called Summer 2021 Free Chart. I don't even know who this is from. There will be a link to the spot where you can get this chart in the notes below. But summer is coming. So I'll angle it. So there you go. So that's what it looks like. A little small. If you like birds, I think the colors are really nice. And again, when I stumble across a pattern that has any appeal to me, my answer is I download the chart. Over the course of my lifetime, if I never stitch this, that'll be okay. But my answer is I'm getting it while it's a free chart, because it's free. Because they aren't always free for forever. So that is my free chart for this week. Again, a link to where you can get this will be in the notes section below the video. Okay, and with that, we're going to go into Stashquisitions, because, again, fell off the bandwagon for my Stitch from Stash. I'm planning on picking it up again in come July 1. But it does mean I've been doing a little bit of shopping with abandon. Okay. So what I've been doing is I've been kitting up some things. So one, I'm going to start with the little one first. So I picked up, this is Petite Treasure Braid PB25. This is for my December project for 2021. Again, I'd spent a little bit of time a couple weeks ago sort of going through and seeing where everything was. I was missing this from my December bag, so I've now acquired that. It can go into its bag. There's a project in my 5-year plan, and I'm not going to go through this, and I'm not even going to tell you the project. I'll let you guess. It's a huge bunch of classic colorworks. Yeah, a huge bunch of classic colorworks. I will also tell you, true to form, most of them are the called for. There's one that I've changed, because I had to change it, because it's me. Again, so these are Pearl Cotton from DMC. This is DMC Pearl Cotton 5s. So this is DMC 115, and this is DMC Color Variations 4045. Again, I have a project in the plan, in the 5-year plan, that these are the called for. And since I fell off the bandwagon and was shopping with no restraint, I bought them. Again, those will go into the bag. Okay. I talked about last week that I bought on the Mother's Day sale, I bought the Seasons in Lace Winter chart from Jan Hicks Creates, which meant I then went out and bought the NPI silks for that particular project. Now, there's more colors here than are called for, again, because I was shopping in the range, and I think it calls for every color but one color in the range, and I went, just get the range. And you need more than one skein for, I think, 2 of the colors. So, anyway. So I've now bought the NPIs to do that particular chart. We talked about, I made a comment last week that spring had not been released. Spring has now been released. I have to think about it. I'm going to wait and see what summer is. So her plan is that at the end, like, you can put the 4 seasons together and it can make a big one. You can always do them as separately. So Seasons in Lace, Winters on its own, I think is lovely. Just lovely. But she is designing them so that you could stitch them all together. So like there's a part of the pattern that will be consistent amongst all 4 of them to form that sort of center part. But it, again, done in 4 different colors. Anyway, so spring has come out. I've got to think about it. I've got a friend who thinks spring is the best one of the 2. Summer is coming out, I think, at the end of August. And that's the one that's going to use the NPI greens. Whether or not I like those particular greens, that's up for debate, but let's wait and see what it looks like. And I don't know when fall is coming out. So that's that. The next ones, this is going to be the weirdest grouping of colors you've ever seen in your life. So these are Rainbow Gallery Splendor silk threads. 4 of them. This last one is purple. It may not be, the camera's not back, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's purple. So 3 blues and a purple in that. And these colors, so these are Soie d'Alger. See if I can. Here's the part that will frighten some of you. All of these threads are being put into the same project. None of them are called for. None of them are in the original. I know. It's the weirdest grouping of colors, even for me, but they serve a purpose, and stay tuned. The next time you're going to see these colors, I'm going to tell you right now, I think is going to be April of 2022. Will most of you have paid enough attention to remember that it's April of 2022 next year? Probably not, and that's totally fine, because there's no reason for you to devote any brain space or memory space to remembering those things. That's for me. But now that I've shown them, they can go into their bag. That's the point. All right. You know, since I was shopping with abandon and no restrictions, I did buy, so this is the thread pack for Jeanette Douglas's Beautiful Bouquet number 6, Hopeful. Remember how I went on and on and on and on and on. So I did break down and get the thread pack for that. I'm not taking the threads out just yet, but I have it. There's a lot of colors in that thing. For a small project, man, there's a lot of colors. But it's beautiful in the end. So there's that. I also bought, thought I had another one of these, but apparently no. Crinkle Crinkle, I'm taking it out of its bag. So this is from Lady Dot Creates. This is their Velveteen. This is Purple Onion. This is for a very specific project. Again, this is for 2022. Yeah, this is a finishing item. And if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I am not great about finishing. One of my goals in 2022 is to actually do some projects and get them finished. I know, shock of all shocks. I am not guaranteeing that my plan will come to fruition, but it's always good to have a plan. So there's that. That's it, again, for a 2022 project. And then, because I've been hearing all the stuff about Blackbirdy things, and I felt like I needed to do something Blackbirdy. So there's a couple of things. So there is Brenda and Laura from Brenda and the Serial Stitcher on Flosstube, which is a great Flosstube channel. You should watch them. They are doing a stitch along, which is totally, it's a wide enough stitch along concept that even I can join the bandwagon more or less. It's called the Blackbird We Can Sell, and so it's the first weekend of every month. Stitch on something Blackbird and post on Instagram with the hashtag so that people can see blackbirds. It's that simple. Any blackbird, doesn't matter. New start, close to a finish, whip, whatever. If it's blackbird related, welcome to the sell. Post on Instagram, put in the hashtag. So what I did with that is I went, wow, doesn't matter whether or not you've got blackbirds in your stash, you should buy blackbirds. So I have bought, so this is a small one where I think if I'm going to do one of these weekend sales, I'm going to start with a small one. So this is not, so there are no blackbirds in my 2021 official stitching plan, but I might decide on a weekend that I should stitch so I can be part of the sale. So I got this one, so this is called My Pink Rose. So it's little. I think the called for linen is the brown petty point. I, of course, don't have the brown because I don't like stitching on brown fabric. I have the petty point in both gray and I have the sort of gray-blue version. So if I'm going to participate, this is what I think I'm going to start. I'll have to sort out the fabric. Stay tuned to see if that happens in 2021, but I clearly need to be prepared so that I can participate. Yeah. So I also picked up, so this is Snow Garden. You know, again, I would change the fabric so it's being done on a gray. House, snowflakes, white, gray fabric. It screams me. And I thought I had it, but I actually checked and I don't. So while I was shopping, I got that. And last but by no means least, again, because I have been watching this one, and I think Gary from the Sunshine Stitchers, he's finished the stitching of it. I don't think he's put it together. I might have that wrong. He might have put, anyway, he's been stitching on it, and I've seen people stitching on it, and I decided not to practice restraint anymore, so this is early Christmas morning. Yeah, anyway. Again, those last two are not in my 5-year stitching plan, but I bought them anyway because I like them, because I was justifying things. Okay, and I think, so there are more purchases coming. Like I say, I was shopping with abandon. Like, anyway, there's an order coming up from the US, but I don't know when that's coming because there's some fabric in it. So, you know, again, it doesn't change what I'm stitching in 2021 at all. But I do have a friend that says, like, even though I've got a plan for 2022, that plan is still open to change. So I could make some changes in that plan. But anyway, there are some larger stitching related acquisitions, but I'm not going to go into them this particular week because I'm firmly saying this is not going to be movie length. And if I start to talk about those, they're going to become movie length. So sadly, there's more Stashquisitions coming. Again, stitch from stash. We're going to do round 2. We are going to try again to be well behaved, which is why I think I've been shopping with abandon. We're going to try and be well behaved come July 1st, which is why I really need to make sure that the stuff that I need for the back end of the year, I think I've got all of that kitted up. So that's one of the tasks for today, is to make sure the things that I've now acquired, that they go into their proper bags and I go, you are ready for the rest of the year. Okay. And with that, we're going to end this video. See, not movie length. I look forward to seeing you next week because, of course, next week when you come on, new month, new start, I'll be starting a new project. The Never-Ending Nativity will be continuing. But there will be a new project to start next Tuesday I'm starting that one, and I'm really looking forward to it. Check back, because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say my rotation is for June. Who knows what that's going to be like. So with that, I hope you have a great week. I hope you find some time to do some stitching this week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, guys.